Hello, welcome everyone to this webinar, Marketing Your Marketing Services. Really excited for this one today. We've got three great guests, as you can see. What we'll probably do is just give it a couple of minutes because there's still people joining. Can you guys hear that ding ding every time on your end? No, okay, that's just on mine. Okay, good stuff. Yeah, we've still got people joining. For everyone that's here that's joined, if you want to use the chat to introduce yourself, that'd be fantastic. We will be checking the chat throughout, or should I say someone in the Hike team, Katie, will be checking the chat throughout. So if you've got any questions at all, because we're going to have a question and answer session at the end, fingers crossed if we've got time, if we can get through, then if you can just drop your messages in the chat as we go along, then we'll try and answer them at the end. Right, let me just, I'm just going to stop your video, Stan, just so we keep us four in, just like that. Okay, great. All right, well, look, let's get started. So yeah, so welcome everyone to this webinar, Marketing Your Marketing Services. Just as a quick overview, what we're going to do, we're going to spend about 45 minutes chatting between myself and the three guests here today, and then we'll try and save 15 minutes at the end for your questions. Now, if you've got questions as we go along, please drop them in the Zoom chat. So if you have a look at the bottom of Zoom, there should be a little chat box. For me, it's under the three buttons, three dots for more. You'll see chat. If you're in there, please drop your message in chat, and then we'll answer it at the end. Okay, cool. Let me just add those people in. So yes, so today we're going to be talking about marketing your marketing services. The reason we decided to do this is because we have a lot of digital marketing agencies using Hike. It's over 1,000, and they're across, well, we have them in lots of countries, but mainly across North America, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Canada, all English-speaking countries, right? So it's all over the world in that sense. And a lot of the questions we get from the digital marketing agencies, they come to us and they say, hey, we want to learn how to grow. You know, Hike's helping us to sell and deliver SEO and grow our SEO revenue, but we want to learn how we can introduce more services, you know, maybe complementary services alongside SEO. And we're not always best placed to answer that. So that's why I've got these three guests I'll introduce you to in a second, and they're going to help on this topic for us. So this webinar should be packed full of great content. If you're in a position where you want to grow your agency, but you're not quite sure how you should market yourselves and how you should grow. We're going to be recording this session. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about taking notes. We'll record it and we'll share it afterwards. Please use the chat for questions. As you can see, it's quite a male-heavy panel today. So if there are any females here, please, do get involved. Drop some questions in the chat so we get some more involved. And then, okay, so just a quick intro for each of us. Then I'll go first. For those that don't know, my name's Andy. I'm co-founder and CEO of Hike. Hike's a SEO software built for small businesses and digital agencies who aren't SEO experts. So we help agencies who want to develop and grow an SEO revenue stream, but they don't perhaps have that skill set already, or they don't want to reach out, and they want to hire expensive SEO staff. So with Hike, you can get more junior staff who can deliver the SEO for you. You can grow your revenue that way. So that's myself. Mikael, would you like to go next and introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Michael from Sweden, one of the co-founders of Adcredo. Adcredo is an all-in-one advertising platform, mainly focusing on paid media. So it contains search, social, and display advertising. And we're kind of serving both brands and agencies. We're full self-service, so we're not an agency in that sense, but we can provide and help both smaller agencies or freelancers to get started and learning a lot. Yeah, and I hope today that I could bring some learnings from what we have seen in the advertising landscape, and that we also see that kind of strategies and relationship will probably even be more important in the future. That's one thing I think that the audience will learn from today's session.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Nick, would you like to go next?
Yep, sure. I'm Nick, and I run an agency called Assisted. We're a search agency primarily, but do some web design and development. We're currently 25 people based in the UK. I scaled the business. I'm the founder and MD, and I was previously part of an agency where I met Andy. Of 1,000 SEO customers, a £6 million turnover, and 120-person agency, which we grew from 4 of us. So had some real experience in scaling agencies, particularly around the SEO piece, in which we now use the Hype platform to deliver for our customers with our current agency.
Brilliant. Thank you, Nick. And Buzz, over to you.
Hi, Michael Buzinski. Everybody calls me Buzz, and I am the founder of Buzzworthy Marketing. We're a fractional CMO and a marketing firm, been founded in 2005. We are a full spectrum marketing firm as well, but we love search, and we have been using Hike as an augment service for our clients, especially our smaller business clients and whatnot. So love search. Search is like both organic and paid. I feel are like the most effective ways of getting results for our clients. So happy to be here and share my experience of shoot, a few decades now.
Nice. Brilliant. Okay. Well, thank you very much. I think there's some great knowledge here in terms of growing agencies and growing the processes and the systems and platforms behind it. So, right. So hopefully everyone who's watching is here because they want to grow their agency. They want to market it. They want to scale it. So I've got a few questions. I think Buzz, starting with yourself. So as the founder of Buzzworthy, what were some of the key strategies that you implemented in the early days to scale your agency that potentially you would not do today or you would continue to do? So what did you learn from those early strategies?
That's a great question. So in the early days, we were like any other agency, and we were willing to do anything and everything to pay the bills. And that is even after all the books that have been written about how not to do that, we as brand new business owners do, because it's survival. It's one of the things, though, I think in the first year that I don't shy people away from if they haven't figured out what their passion is for, right? What is their superpower? So when I mentioned that SEO is like something that I truly loved. And as SEO was kind of coming up as a practice, as a service that people could sell, by 2007, we had seen like the science behind it. And what we did really well to scale ourselves into the multi 7-figure arena was actually productizing our SEO services and finding a way to make it different than every other SEO. Because even back then, it was pretty darn crowded. Like anybody and everybody all of a sudden was SEO. It's kind of like today, everybody and anybody can be an AI marketer, right? And so now when you look at that and you go, well, if you're just doing SEO, it's old hat. No, it's continually reinvented. When we had the original SEO was kind of more like directory optimization. Then it was content optimization. Then it was mobile optimization. Now it's like optimization using AI and human optimize. So it's all evolving piece, which gives us marketers opportunities to differentiate our approach. And everybody has just a little bit, 1 degree difference makes you different. And better is not better, different is better. So if I had to go back and tell myself anything, it would be grab onto that different and don't worry about what anybody else is doing. As long as you're providing those results you're promising, go with that, because that track record sells more new clients than anything else that you're trying to keep up with the Joneses and your competitors.
Yeah, that's good advice. I think the difference, because there's huge demand out there. There's enough SEO clients for everyone, right? And enough PPC clients for everyone. So the demand's never going to be an issue. But if they're looking at multiple agencies, what's different about you guys, right? So I like that. That's really good. And so Nick, when you were growing, what was one specific challenge that you faced while you were building Assisted to where it is now?
Not just with Assisted, but even with the previous agency, which was a much bigger agency, the biggest challenge that I think any agency faces really is retention of customers. I mean, most agencies work on a retainer model. So the value is in the incremental increase in that retainer every single month, right? That gives us an indication of when we can recruit more people, or when we can move to a nicer office, or whether we can take more dividends, whatever those things may be. It's all driven by the growth of the retainer, similar to the way the Hype platform works and everything, and every other marketing agency out there that works in that way. So I think for us, retention has been one of the biggest challenges, and actually the things that Buzz said really struck a chord with me, because one of the things that we failed to do, not just at the beginning, but at several points in our journey, was really nail down who we are and our proposition. And if you don't do that, then you end up selling something that maybe you're not so great at delivering because you want that piece of work. And then ultimately, even if you're doing a good job on one channel that you are good at, but another channel fails, you end up losing that customer anyway. And I think one of the things that we've learned to minimize churn or attrition of customers is sell the thing that you're really good at. And Buzz called it your superpower, which I liked. So sell the thing that you're really confident and you know you can deliver effectively. And then that gives you the best chance of managing expectation correctly, because you understand it the most. And then that's the best chance that customer's going to be with you for a long time. Then that gives you opportunity, once that confidence is there and that relationship is there, to start to think about cross-selling and upselling into other channels, but really focusing on that positioning, and that so that will help that retention of customers by making sure that you're selling the right thing right at the front end, and the thing you're going to do a good job of.
Yeah, that's nice. So not only does it help you grow your agency, from Buzz's point, but it also helps with the retention as well. Focusing on that superpower, figuring out what you are, and then adding kind of incrementally on top of that. That's key. I mean, even for us at Hike, right? Like before Hike, our previous product was was too vague. It was too general, right? And then we figured out, okay, who do we really want to help? And that was the small businesses or the micro business, whether that's via agencies or direct to. And that was our identity, and that's what enabled us to grow. So even for a technology. So, Mikhail, how about yourself, right? So obviously for you guys, you kind of had to develop an identity. What did you learn from growing your business? Obviously slightly different to technology, but what did you learn from growing your business? If you could go back and tell yourself now, what would be different?
No, but we obviously we started Adcredo with the mission that we saw the number of raising social advertising platforms, and we all came from programmatic advertising, and facing the biggest agencies and also the smaller one, they were spending all of their budgets on Google and Meta, and kind of didn't have the resources or time or the effectiveness to go into many other platforms. So with that said, there was like a broad range of different needs from all kind of agencies, because there's many that have had this idea, but and many specialist agencies are very keen also to become specialists into separate platforms. We might be on a different angle, that we support that agencies and consultants should be very good in strategies. They should be good in recommendations, understand the data, but not necessarily like a Facebook Meta expert or learning the platforms. So we kind of developed the platform for many years and try to build it based on feedback and what we heard from both like enterprise agencies, but also smaller agencies. And I think much what we have spent time in is getting the control, and the idea for us is to, of course, obviously help agencies to scale by spending less time on repetitive administrations, or automate as much as you can in the process. But so it's been a ride.
Been a ride. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, that actually leads nicely, I guess, into what we want to look at next, right? Which is the next section where we're going to talk about, which is advice on attracting new customers and introducing new services. So marketing's evolving, right? I mean, you can't get a webinar without mentioning AI. So I'm going to mention it now, but we have got a section at the end. So if you're here just for the AI, stick to the end. But so obviously it's very important now with the new channels that are available. SEO is a huge part, but there are other channels available as well for attracting customers. I suppose starting with you, Nick, how does your customer acquisition channel or flow look like now, considering all these different channels? What's your main route for acquiring customers?
Our best route is always referral. I mean, I think that's, you know, there's always an emphasis on do a good job for your customers, and that will lead to, you know, more opportunities, right? I think that's an obvious one when you start the business. Nobody sets out to do a bad job, but I think that's still got to be core to it. And you know, this year our growth has been particularly strong, and a lot of that has come from referral work that we've done. So I think having awareness of how your customers perceive you is really important, because that referral element is great. I think, you know, if you're an SEO agency or a pay-per-click agency, you should be doing those channels for yourself. We do both. We have, you know, pay-per-click campaigns running to generate kind of traffic with intent into the website that can generate leads. And similarly, we rank quite strong for a number of keywords. One of the things that does work well for us is that we've targeted particular sectors where we've got really good case studies on, and that has led for us to build out really nice landing pages with those case studies included, and then we're able to create campaigns targeted to those specific sectors, even being part of certain, you know, memberships that live in those areas as well, gives us access to those customers. So I think that's worked really well for us. So certainly, you know, obviously your own channels, but specializing has certainly helped us generate customers in particular sectors, which has helped. I think the other thing from a sales flow perspective, when you do get the opportunity to speak to a customer, I think the key thing from a search agency is to not focus on, you know, what we're going to do for you in terms of delivery. We're going to do, you know, this many hours work, or this many pieces of content, or this many links, or whatever it may be, which obviously the Hype platform, you know, articulates that quite nicely in terms of how much time you have and what the priority should be. But talking to the customers about the value that you're going to add, and in a sales term, we talk about the afters. What's going to happen once you are ranking in that strong position? How is that going to impact the business? What value are we going to add from our perspective into your business, and why do you need to work with us? I think that's the key point from a customer journey point of view. Once you have that opportunity to speak to them commercially, not about doing the doing, because they probably won't understand it anyway. What you want to build value in is what impact you're going to have on their business. That's what business owners care about.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Because I think it's really easy to get tied down into what you're gonna, you know, the deliverables that you're gonna do. Whereas actually, you know, each individual channel that you're doing is just a means of helping that customer grow. So if you can talk to them in terms of this is how we're going to help you grow, then it opens up the conversations more easily, I guess, around not doing just SEO, right? You could then introduce, well, we can do this other thing to help you grow. So with that in mind, so Buzz, when you're considering adding new service or products to your offering, what are the core considerations that you go through when you think, right, I'm going to add this as a new product?
So that's a really good question. So the thing that I've learned over the years is being a T-shaped marketer. Okay. So a lot of us know marketing, right? And you need to know the fundamentals of marketing. So you need to be a marketing strategist, but not all of us love strategy. We like tactics, right? So there's people who just on this board here, you know, have softwares or specific services that they really dive deep in, like search marketing, right? So my first point is that don't be in a rush to add more different services, because you're going to dilute your efficacy, if you will. Okay. So what we have found is that you want to be able to create services around your core abilities, right? So I'm going to use an example of what we've done. Back in the day, we only did done for you services. Okay. About 4 years ago, when we got Hike, we were looking at Hike as a way to still do search engine optimization, but help people do it themselves. So we found a tool that allowed us to provide the same service as we already have, but to people who couldn't afford what we already offer at the prices we already offer. Because the worst thing you can do is try to dilute your services down to where your margins are too tight. And so when somebody starts to take a little bit more than they're supposed to, you're losing money. You never want to be there. You do that value-based pricing, like we were just talking about, as far as like what the outcome is. And so you can either help people save time or save money when doing one service. So your first point is there. If you're going to go beyond that, what you want to do is get the service that is most like and most complementary to that service, right? So for us, we're currently working through some technology that allow us to create a media room that will add all of these backlink opportunities from US media that have all of this authority, right? So we're not reinventing what we do. We're just adding to the efficiencies of what we have, because we all know that building backlinks is arduous, right? Good backlinks, high domain authority backlinks, right? And we know that that's one of the things that you can only write a blog so well. You can only optimize a site to 100%. There's only so many things you can do, but how can you, but you still need to be making things better. And so finding those things that are good add-ons to your current clients will help you increase your revenue, your average revenue per client that you're retaining right now, and have something else that you can add to in a bigger package to your newer prospects. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, it does. It does. So what I'll ask you and Nick, if you can quickly just explain now, what does your SEO suite of products look like? What do you offer when it comes to SEO? Just an overview. Just so then if anyone here is watching and they've got an SEO agency, they're like, well, how can I build out my products and services in SEO? What are you guys doing?
We talk about it in the I guess the three silos really. So technical SEO, content marketing, and then digital PR. So we talk about it in those three areas. It's usually the way that a customer understands, you know, one, is your website technically sound and capable for your audience? Does the content talk about the things that you sell in the right way, and is it optimized correctly? And do you have enough authority in comparison to everybody else to actually compete? So the reason we use those three silos is so that it's easy to articulate to a customer. And then there's obviously third-party tools that you can use to demonstrate that to where they sit in terms of domain authority versus a customer. So, or even technical capability against the customer. So that's the way that we usually translate it. We would usually sell in, you know, a package that includes all of those services under the remit of SEO. But then, as Buzz said, a lot of the time there are, you know, opportunities to grow certain elements if with the on-site or the content is already really good. And so, but so is everybody else is in that market. It may be that we need to be approaching that customer to say, well, here's your domain authority versus the competition. What do we need to do to bridge that gap over the next 6 to 12 months? You need to invest more in this area. And that happens really naturally through the relationships that we have. Nice.
Thanks. And then Buzz?
So what we've done is a choose your own adventure process. We're actually launching it, the new version this week. And so what we allow people to do is come in, and if they're not quite ready to commit. So when we sell SEO, we on the done for you side of things, it is a 12-month agreement. And if you can't commit to 12 months of SEO, we just don't want to work with you, because we know it's going to take time, especially if you're in a competitive industry with competitive keywords and you don't have any, and you've never done SEO, you're just going to take time to get there, right? Especially at the volume that we want to see for that profitable traffic, right? So what we did was we siloed our services into a do it yourself, done with you, and done for you. And then within the done for you, we have a couple of upgrades that we can do. So it's like, hey, do you want to build your authority faster? Then you should get a media room that can build out 60, 70 high domain authority backlinks every month versus trying to get a couple, handful, maybe a dozen every month manually, right? So you go there. But on the done with you side, what we've done is that's for the folks who are like, I love all of that, but I like to write my own stuff. Oh, okay, great. This allows us to productize our service in a way that doesn't force us to then curtail our done for you to different situations. We just say, okay, if you want to do that, you're in our done with you program. This is what it comes with. Here's a couple upgrades if you want it, ... And then in the do it yourself, that's where the people are like, they have more time than money. That's where Hike comes in for us the best, right? Especially the people who they need it, desperately need it, right? To get seen. If they don't have visibility, they can't you can't help them, right? To market if they have no visibility. So for us, we're like, hey, listen, let's get you in here, and we hold their hand a little bit. So there's a little done with you right at the beginning, but then we set them off. Now, one of the things we do with that, I told you I have other tactics that we offer, right? Web development, social media strategy, stuff like that, right? So then what we do is we follow what they're doing. Are they doing the tasks? Are they falling behind? If they are, hey, you know what? It doesn't look like you have the time you think. You sure you don't want to do the done with you? Right? And so then you're popping there. Or, hey, they're killing it. Oh, really? Hey, have you seen our social media management tool? Since you're doing SEO so well, why don't you come over here and take a look at our other tool? Now we're cross-selling stuff that we're already offering to people who are successfully using our DIY tools. And so you keep them in those verticals that they're natural at, right? And they're still in line with our current services. So we don't have to change how we do business client to client. We get the clients to do business where they are most comfortable.
Nice. Yeah. It sounds like both of you guys have got that kind of like bird's eye view, holistic. You're matching everything together. You're looking at it from a much higher level, and then you're using that to determine what those packages look like, and then use that to effectively sell. So yeah, that's really smart. And I think that shows mature agencies. And I guess it's taken you guys time to get there. And hopefully for people here that aren't at that stage, you know, then some of the advice they're given can help. So Mikhail, obviously, as one of the founders of Adcredo, a digital platform, you know, like we are a platform.
Yep.
Thinking about your acquisition methods. Now, they're obviously just like ours. They're going to be a little bit different to agencies. But is there anything you've learned from an acquisition point of view of how you get customers that would be helpful to an agency owner looking to grow their agency?
Well, exactly as you said, Andy, it's a bit different. It could be quite long, you know, sales cycles, selling a platform. So it's often like finding your ICP, or we had this beachhead strategy, getting into that community and growing. Because obviously everyone hates new platforms. That's the first kind of sense of them. No one want to make a change. So you need to find people in that way. But we're, you know, one of our core focuses is to help agencies or freelancers actually make money out of platforms, which I think that many in the advertising ad tech platforms haven't yet succeeded. You know, the most common phase that they are able to charge for is probably like reporting platforms, where they can gather it all there and they can save time. So that's being kind of, how can we achieve, how can we get freelancers or smaller agencies to make money out of our platform? So in that sense, then obviously our sales attribution could be going faster. But we kind of course, we have a paid advertising platform, but we are mainly focusing on you know, this kind of communities that has the best scale for us as it is right now. But the kind of channel partner, making media agencies or consultants, pretty much like platforms like HubSpot, Salesforce, all these marketing automations, they've been really good in you know, educating and training agencies and making the agencies sell their platforms. So I guess that's what we see also for media agencies, consultants in paid, that you know, they can contribute to a value that is more than just knowing something, knowing PPC or social media advertising. They can kind of go in also and connect between both, doing a little bit of a job or an in-house apartment. So we do spend a lot of focus on trying to help agencies make money out of our platform right now, and then growing with maybe fewer clients than just finding new ones.
Yeah. And I guess just for anyone that's watching that does want to, that either has customers that are asking for additional channels, or looking to perhaps acquire their own customers to their agency across other channels, and you want to look down paid, you know, check out Adcredo. You know, it does make it really simple to go, right, I want to run an advertising campaign on this channel to drive customers. Now I want to run it on this channel. So yeah, I really recommend checking those guys out, because that could be a route as well. Okay, cool. So, right, as an SEO software, we need to speak a little bit about SEO, right? So growing your agency and communicating the service you do, like, you're going to have to talk about SEO and PPC, right? Kind of the Google ecosystem. So Nick, SEO is obviously ever changing, ever evolving. We've been in it a long time, right? You've been in it longer than me, but we've been in it together 13 years. So what do you say where it is right now, how can a marketing agency position themselves to sell SEO to stay ahead of the competition in 2024?
Yeah, it made me laugh when I saw this question. You know, for so long as you know, a SEO lead, head of SEO, director of SEO, when it came to talking about the market of SEO, it was the area that I was most confident in. And probably over the last 4 years, probably that's, you know, changed to the people that work for me. You know, they have you know, more in-depth SEO experience than I do right now. I suppose in terms of I suppose in terms of the stay ahead of the competition, I guess it's to the SEO market in my mind hasn't, you know, changed significantly probably for the past 5 or 6 years. There's not been some crazy algorithm updates, which is getting half of your customers, you know, penalized. It's been a much smoother trajectory from Google, certainly from what we've experienced in terms of the practices that we've implemented. So I think in terms of staying ahead of the competition, you know, I guess the thing that still gets missed by our team, and, you know, I think I'll constantly reiterate to them, is that often we pick up a customer and we see loads of easy opportunities or simple opportunities to improve the SEO performance of a website. Really basic stuff, you know, super simple stuff that everybody in this room knows. But it still gets missed because the tech guys want to go and do a 3-day audit on the site, and that uses the whole budget for the month, and then actually we won't implement anything from that until the following month, and then that's a missed opportunity for a month, and that's actually lacked impact for that customer. So I have this kind of ethos of we need to make an impact quickly, and I think that's one way that agencies can stay ahead or improve their retention, is that you get a website, a new client into the business. You see an easy win, which, you know, isn't always there these days, but you see an easy win. So a good example is we took a US e-commerce customer on at the end of last year. They ranked really well for their main brand and their main term. They ranked page 1, position 1, but there was a synonym of their term, which means exactly the same thing. It had equal search volume that they didn't rank for. We just optimized the site on site very simply, some light touch SEO, and they ranked page 1, position 1 for that keyword too, and almost doubled their organic traffic after 3 months. Now, that impact that we made to that business added so much value that we've sold them pay-per-click, we've sold them social media, we've sold them email marketing, because they trust us, right? They trust the things that we're saying. So I think don't forget to take the easy wins and don't get dragged down a non-commercial, technical, let's do all the detail bit, but actually what does the business need? And then in terms of staying ahead of the competition, the other things that are working really well for us is we've spent a lot of time looking at landing page quality, kind of doubling in on kind of the EEAT stuff, which is part of Google's algorithm these days, and making sure we include things like expert comments, FAQs, good case studies that are relevant to that, pillar content that talks about surrounding topics and sectors for our customers. And actually what we use as a bit of a sales tool, again, reverting back to how we sell and how we grow the agency, is we have a really nice wireframe of all of the good components that you should have on the website, and we share that at point of sale, because we can go, here's your website, here's what good looks like, there's a massive disparity between the two things, let us help you fix that and you will rank better, and it works. And so I think that's the thing that I would say, rather than being able to give you specific SEO algorithm bits. I would say that don't ignore the things that are obvious, because that can make an impact to a customer, and have something that a customer can visualize, like a landing page format or a landing page wireframe, that can explain what you're going to do in a nice, simple way. Because often, there's still this thought that SEO is some sort of dark art, and it's not. So being able to translate that to a customer in a way that is really easy, builds value quickly, and means that they trust what you're going to do. It also gives the team lots of focus to execute against.
Yeah, nice. Really interesting. It's interesting how it's 2024 and the fundamentals are still the fundamentals that they were 20 years ago, and they still power so much of how a website ranks. But there is a tendency, and this is from agencies, you look at their website and they're focusing on these real, you'll find that SEOs, tech SEOs, they love to focus on these really cool topics. Page speed, unbelievable. They'd spend days and days of a budget And the impact it has on search, like your rankings, very minimal, than including a synonym, for example, and getting that to rank page 1, position 1. So yeah, that's a real key. If you want to stay ahead of competition, I think that's really important. So yeah, I like that. Mikhail, so PPC is quite a significant investment for agencies, right? Especially those that perhaps haven't done it before. So what strategies do you recommend for maximum return on investment from a PPC campaign?
Yeah, and with PPC, I guess you mean both Google Ads and social advertising.
Yeah, any kind of paid media, paid clicks.
But obviously, as you looking at for the smaller agency, there's been this very focused like last attribution on it, and that Google been delivering, the clicks, and it's hard for many agencies to sell new platforms and maybe also to being able to have the enough budgets that is required to be successful on social media advertising, especially. I think what we tried to do is kind of help agencies and brands to kind of get the control by combining all these platforms and get the data and doing your custom and calculated metrics into one. By that, we don't say especially like spend your money on these channels or doing this, but allowing to have the control of it in real time, making quicker decisions or comparing different platforms to each other. As we can see now, we're talking quite a lot with Snapchat, TikTok, LinkedIn as a channel partner, and they're really trying to do whatever they can to help agencies and brands to try their platforms, because they mainly have enterprise clients, or LinkedIn are good in SMBs as well. So and obviously when you tried something, I understand that it doesn't have to shift your whole budget, but we wanna like, okay, your target group, your audience is there on TikTok, on LinkedIn, on new platforms, Snapchat, etc. So we kind of want to make it easier for agencies and brands to at least try them on, compare it with other ones. And then I think you're getting into that, but making the content type is obviously the biggest. That's the biggest factor for social media advertising. If you can create enough good content and trying to optimize on that, that's the best key to getting the best ROE, at least on social, where we're more from in that scape. I think Nick and guys are better than me on PPC and Google Ads.
Yeah, but yeah, in terms of social, we see the same when we do social media advertising. Like it's the asset creation that's super important once you've got your targeting down, and it's the frequency, right? So how often would you recommend to update assets?
I think as much as you can. We got A/B testing cross platforms in that sense, and you don't have to spend too much money on creating it, but AI will of course help you with that. I think it's kind of have a strategy for full funnel, to seeing and understand that one content might not just solve the whole problem. You need to have a strategy around, the whole attention to the last click, etc. And then video is growing super fast within these platforms, and that's what we see also, that just doing the creatives a bit better, and doing more videos, it works. And so that's kind of but having the control of all these platforms and being able to take decisions and try them on, I think is a good way.
Great. And finally, over to you, Buzz. Can you share an example, if you've got one, of where you've used SEO and paid channels to grow the results for a client, where they've worked in tandem?
Yeah, we got a couple of them. I think the most interesting one that we found was a company that had a very interesting business model. He had a fleet of drivers that would drive rented trucks for people moving that didn't want to drive the moving truck. Okay. So in America, we have things like U-Haul, where you rent this big box truck, fill it up, you drive it to wherever you're going, drop it off, and you're done, right? Well, there's a lot of people that want to drive those big trucks. This is very entertaining. Problem is that the keywords that he needed to rank for were in direct competition with U-Haul, with the moving companies that were not being used for those types of things, right? Even shipping companies. And so what we found is that you had to play both sides of the coin, right? Because not everybody clicks on the PPC stuff, right? And not everybody gets down to the organic stuff. So having your property in both paid and organic, and then in the organic, having the position zero, the maps, and the SERP all there, and saying, okay, I've got 4 instances of and it's like drive my rented truck, it was the name of it. So if they saw drive my rented truck 4 times when they're searching for stuff, and the keywords are there, so they're interrupting what they're already looking for, because they don't know what they don't know. They don't know that this service even exists, that it's even an option, right? So as they're looking at, in America, we got this 2 men in a truck type of thing, where people will, the 2 guys in a truck actually come up, pack up your stuff, and then drive the truck over to wherever it is, and then unload it for you, okay? For short moves. So this is that next step from that. So we found is that when people are doing informational searches of like, how do I get my stuff without hiring a moving company? So we have informational intent, right? Well, as they're doing that informational intent, we want the ads right there at a commercial intent, right? So it's like we want to transform that informational search into a transitional search, or a commercial search even, right? And so we found that as we were doing that, so we would target the PPC on the informational with a commercial message, versus where a lot of people will match the intent, their ads, with the intent. Get more information about blah, blah, blah. No. Hire a truck driver to move your stuff. Done, right? Like hire a truck driver to, I can't remember the campaigns, but like hire someone to drive your moving truck, right? When they're looking for who has moving trucks, or quote for a moving truck, or any of that stuff right there. It's like, boom, you're saying this is the other thing you need. And so we're able to use both of those in tandem, using all of the intents as they go through that buying process.
Yeah.
And so the results of that, you said a case study, results of that is that we reduced his CPA, so his cost per acquisition reduced by 33% on PPC, and we increased his search volume by 336% in less than 3 months. And we don't promise anything in 3 months in SEO, but because the way that we positioned everything, it just took off. It was a very easy. For some reason, it was just, there was the demand was there enough for it. It was just that he needed to position himself in a way that helped people do the research. And as they're doing the research, that became, which is very common in SEO, but he was looking at it on all of his keywords in the commercial transactional side, versus like use your organic on the informational side, use your paid on the commercial side, and they'll start working together.
Yeah, that's really good, because obviously with SEO you're a bit restricted, right? If it's an informational keyword, you've got to produce an informational piece of content to rank for that. Whereas a lot of the time you're like, I'd love to get my product or service. We have this problem. You don't know what you don't know. Many people sign up for Hike, they didn't know about it until they heard about it, right? So but they're searching things like how to improve my SEO, how can I do my own SEO? And if we want to rank for that from an SEO point of view, then we've got to produce a piece of content that answers that question, an informational piece of content. What you're saying here is use paid to provide your commercial advert at the top of that informational query, right? So you're getting in there and you're going, if someone searches that, they're just going to see your ad, right? So I like that. It might be something we trial out there.
Yeah. So it goes to the top of mind. It takes top of mind awareness and transitions it into top of mind preference, right? Because first they weren't aware, so you made them aware, and then their preference is not to drive the truck, right? So then it's like, okay, yeah, we got the truck. I still don't really want to do the truck, but we can get the truck cheaper. Oh, and we can get what about those guys that can drive the truck for us? This is going to still be cheaper, right? So their preference is to not spend as much money on the moving truck, but not have to drive the moving truck. So we created that preference by matching those two together.
Okay, lovely. Okay, so we're gonna do a bonus question, right? And we've got 5 minutes for this, and then we'll answer the guys' questions. So a couple of minutes answers each, please. It's on AI. It's got to be AI, right? So can you, each of you, we'll start with you, Mikhail. How are you using AI at the minute at Adcredo? And I guess just, it could be in terms of the product, but maybe more so in terms of your how you're doing what you do.
So at the moment right now, what we have is the combination of all these advertising platforms. And at the moment, we have implemented ChatGPT 4.0. We're building a combination of Midjourney and ChatGPT 0 to also create ads within the platform. The whole idea for us is to use the best AI technologies, or the whole idea with Actionable overall is to use all the best different technologies to create an advertising engine that delivers a better ROE and saves time. So at the moment, you get either suggestions or you're out to create ads, both for AdWords or social. And the next big challenge that our clients have is the content side. So then you're kind of using ChatGPT, trained on marketing, trained on advertising with Midjourney to create ads, which I assume that mainly it will be for SME mid-sized brands that do it. And so we kind of want to use AI as an assistance in every kind of step in the advertising process. So we have got a lot of questions on building kind of AI on top of the different algorithms from each platform, but we kind of want to use AI as a assistant and recommendations and give the agencies and the brands the options to use what they like to do it. So that's what we have done so far, and we have seen great success also in if you're handling hundreds or thousands of campaigns, obviously it makes more sense that you really need to use AI to scale. But it has also delivered great results by just giving as little as your web page, and then you get an example and just pull in the KPIs. But it's mainly used also in that sense, maybe for our big partners that handling many campaigns and many clients.
Sure. Thank you very much. Nick, how are you guys using AI assisted?
Similar, to be fair, to Mikhail. I mean, I suppose the challenge that we have is that we have a set of creative writers that are responsible for creating content about lots of different industries, and they're not always experts in that field, especially in the infancy when we've just started working on a client. So I think we've kind of leveraged it really on kind of aiding the creation of content through using it to research certain subjects, and giving us a starting point has been really helpful for those guys. And I think there's this saying, isn't there, that your job's not going to be taken by AI, it's going to be taken by somebody using AI. And I think that's it. It's to improve, there's some efficiencies there, but also the efficiency comes from not the AI doing the writing, but the AI doing the research and getting the framework of that content before we then delve into the specifics of it. And I think that's what we found most useful from our end. The team aren't spending hours and hours researching a particular topic. They can plug that in to ChatGPT 4, Gemini, whatever it may be, and that gives us a starting point to create that piece of content. I think that's where the value is added for us in particular.
Nice. Buzz, over to you.
Both of those are great. We definitely believe in the human optimized AI is our approach, right? It's a leverage. The fulcrum is technology, right? The weight that AI brings is its expediency of information and be able to really chew on information. We're using it in our done with you stuff. So a case study that I've got right now is in helping people create evergreen social media content for B2B service-based businesses. And so we're creating a block of content that spans a year in as little as a week, right? And so to do that, you can't get the clients to write all that content. And to make it affordable for them, you can't be making that as well. So we're actually we're going through basically a consultative process of getting all the information about who their target market is, what they actually, what value do they bring, what are the pain points of their clients, all the things you would need as a writer to then create ideas for posts. And so we create a custom GPT trained on that person's avatar and however you want to say ICP, all that good stuff. And then also give it some examples of their writing and give them websites and all the other stuff that they can pull from. And then when you get to the point where it's like, okay, now it's time to write post captions, we're able to write, yesterday, I think, one of my folks was able to put in 30 different posts in 30 minutes. I mean, literally writing unique stuff, and it was in Italian. It was an American doing it for an Italian company. So you're finding that scalability. But I think the key, though, is feeding more and more of what it makes the client that you're working with unique. I think a lot of people get lazy, and marketers are usually lazy, right? Especially when it comes to technology. And we like to break things by being lazy. So if we can stick with the fundamentals of all the things we'd have to do if we were given a creative brief to a human, when we start giving that to our chosen AI tool, and then taking what you got from that AI tool for whatever it is, and then human optimizing it, I think that's where you're really going to be able to leverage AI and bring the value. Because like it was said earlier, it's not AI replacing humans, it's humans effectively using AI replacing humans that haven't.
Yeah, cheers, guys. I think three great answers. I don't think there's much more to be added there. I think one thing that
Andy, I'll just say from my perspective and not a delivery point of view, one of the things that I have used ChatGPT for is before going to see, we're talking about scaling agencies here. So before going to see a customer, I have asked ChatGPT to do comparisons of a certain URL against the people that rank on page one for a certain query. And it will do that, especially if you're very specific about, tell me about the what USPs the people ranking on the top 10 rankings have got versus this domain name. ChatGPT 4 will go and do that for you and give you a list of information that you're armed with then to go to that customer to say, yeah, this is again the disparity between the people that rank on page one and your site and your website. It gives you a narrative to follow in that conversation, and it takes 5 seconds to do. It's quite an easy win from a sales point of view to utilize that. So I just thought I'd add that in.
Yeah, that's really nice. I always try to say, even the Hike team, like you almost need to replace the word AI in our vocabulary. In understanding how to use it, you want to replace the word AI with just a specialist in X. So you can imagine, Nick, like if you were going to that meeting, if you had a research specialist, that's what you'd get them to do, right? And that's what the AI is doing. If you had a content writer specialist, you're getting the AI to write the code. It's almost thinking about if you could have a specialist in any domain, what would you get that person to do? And I find that really helps. That really helps us to kind of frame how we can use AI the best. But that's a really nice example. I'm sure a lot of people are going to steal that idea. I guess one thing before we go into questions, I know we've got 5 minutes, but one thing I'd probably like to do a future webinar on is we've talked here a little bit. A few of you touched on efficiencies, right? But this is going to lead to profitability, or potentially it can lead to profitability, right? Because the model of how you sell or how you deliver might have to change, but you can get X done much quicker, much more affordably. So how is that going to evolve your pricing strategies? So don't want to talk about that now, but maybe that's something we can talk about, because I think that will have a big impact over the next few years. As software gets smarter, as your team's human optimized AI, right? You don't need perhaps as big a team as many experts. How's that going to change the agency pricing model? But yeah, we'll leave that one hanging for a future webinar. Okay, so I think we've had a couple of questions. We've had one question, Buzz, for yourself, which is how does a media room get links from? Yes, how does a media room get links for a client?
Yeah, so yeah, I saw that as far as so in a media room, there's a couple ways of doing it, but really what you're looking to do is get yourself plugged into a digital news distribution. Okay, and there's a bunch of them out there. We use Signal Genesis is the one that we use. And so what it does is you're basically creating press releases from the content you're creating. So you're repurposing your content, and it could be a podcast that you just did for yourself or that you were just on. It could be a summary of a blog and there's like, hey, so-and-so expert at this talks about this in this blog. You'd be surprised on how many of those things get picked up by small digital news outlets. The great thing about the news outlets is they have high domain authority. And if you have something interesting, you could get picked up by Yahoo, Google, was it Google News, I think is one of them. Digital, we like to get into digital journal because we're in the digital journal marketplace is another one. These are all medium-sized and larger digital news outlets, right? And they have huge domain authority. Now, it's only going to last for maybe 3 to 6 months, but that's okay because you're constantly putting out more and more of that, which is bringing that domain authority to you. And it's dynamic, meaning that Google sees a lot of action. So there's a new one here, there's a new one there. The algorithm, it kind of is not smart enough to go, well, how many do they lose? They look at how many new ones you have and what is the whole number of it, right? So find yourself a distribution channel that allows you to just repurpose, and you can use AI to repurpose it because you can just give it the blog and say, will you please give me a summary for this that would work as a press release for blah, 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 blah. Boom, done. Don't overthink it. Put your media in it and let it go. And then if you have your media room is just a page on your website that then houses all of those. And that's where the backlinks go to on your website in the media room instead of a blog, because Google is starting to look at content that is not necessarily in blogs. So a media room is not a blog. So it meets the criteria of part of the main website.
Okay, interesting. Nice tip. And then time for just one last question, 2 minutes left. It's got to be really quick. Mikhail, I'm going to fire this one to you. Rebecca's asked, currently she uses AI to create an article. She wants to know if you can use AI to create videos and images to then use for something like LinkedIn ads that you can then promote those articles you've created on LinkedIn. Would you use AI to create the images or videos that you can use in social media advertising? I know you kind of touched upon it there, but LinkedIn maybe specifically.
Yeah, we started this project a year ago, and we feel now that it's quite close to be good enough. If you're willing to try, so I would say looks really good. And obviously we're using the latest technologies, but kind of, with the background of the data we have in the Adcredo platform. So yes, I would say that you could quite now produce at least good image banners, and probably very soon also very good videos to launch on LinkedIn. Yes.
Nice. Okay, the tech's caught up. Awesome. Rebecca said she's going to book in a demo. So there you go. Happy days.
No. Good.
Good stuff. Well, look, we're just under the hour. Thank you everyone who's attended. Hopefully you've picked up some good tips. I know I certainly have. So huge thanks, Mikhail, Nick, Buzz, for coming, for being honest, for giving tips, telling us about your agencies and how you've grown them. It's really, really appreciated. Nick and Buzz for being Hike users. Thank you very much. Mikhail, like I say, anyone wants to check those guys out, check out Adcredo. And have a great day, everyone, and we'll catch up another time.
Cheers, Andy. Thanks so much, guys.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.